Which, by the way, isn't that crazy? Like, Dorothy arrived and murdered someone immediately in The Wizard of Oz. Like, I've never really thought about that before.
Yeah, me neither. That's great.
I mean, I suppose she didn't do it necessarily. Like, she was just kind of like witness to it. She was in the house.
Right.
That is that like vehicular homicide?
I don't know.
Is it homeowner homicide? I don't know.
Homeowner homicide.
Hello and welcome to May the Review Be With You with Nick and Joe. I'm Joe.
I'm Nick.
And today on May the Review Be With You, we're doing a double header. We were talking about two different shows that premiered just last week. We have Agatha All Along on Disney Plus, and we have Matt Reeves' The Penguin on Max. So it was a great weekend for television. I mean, we had those two premiering, but like so many other shows are also going right now. It's a great time to be a nerd. Yeah, Nick. Just how are you feeling? You know, we just got through both of these shows. How are you feeling in general?
I'm feeling. I was a little overwhelmed because there's a lot happened this week. You know, we had 2 episodes of Agatha, and then that was on Wednesday, and then on Thursday there's a new Penguin pilot, which was over an hour, and then there's still the Rings of Power episode that came out as well on Thursday.
I still haven't seen it,
which I also still have not seen because there's too much going on.
Yeah.
Overwhelmed, but excited that, you know, it's better to be overwhelmed than bored when it comes to Geek Life, which we love Geek Life, so here we are. But yeah, overall, awesome, because I really did enjoy both openings to the respective series here, which we'll get into. But yeah, how about you?
Yeah, like literally same. Being an adult sucks. Just having all these different things going on at the same time. I have to carve out time to watch TV. That's an insane thing to say, but I do. I need to. That's how life works now. Yeah, I was overall walking away from both of these shows pretty excited, honestly. But both shows, Agatha, I kind of expected to be, I mean, after we saw the trailers, I expected it to be something special. Not before. Before, I was not excited for that show at all. And the Penguin, I think I had like no expectations for really whatsoever. And I went 0 to 100 on this show fast.
Yeah, same.
I am very excited about this show.
Same. Big same. That
being said, let's save the Penguin for last.
Yeah.
And let's jump into Agatha All Along. As you pointed out, it came out first. So Agatha All Along. Catherine Hahn has her own show following. Oh my God. WandaVision. There it is. Wow, that blinked for a whole minute. Anywho, WandaVision, and it's pretty entertaining. We pick up 3 years later after WandaVision. Overall, how'd you feel going into the episode? How'd you feel walking away from the episode?
Yeah, I was excited for it. Like, I've enjoyed the Disney Plus MCU TV shows a lot, but I was excited for this one because it seems almost like not an unorthodox spin-off, but maybe, aside from those, like, kind of I guess a little unorthodox, but really interesting story to tell. Right, because she's essentially like stuck in the Darkhold, like, and I don't know if she's like
going on there.
Like, where is she?
Are you talking about at the end or in the beginning?
In the beginning.
At least what I had picked up from that was, I mean, using the Darkhold, Wanda, you know, imprisoned Agatha in, I want to say like in her own mind, really. Right. Which it was neat that we started with a nod to WandaVision. Every episode was crafted with a different era of television in mind, right?
Right. Yeah.
And we start right away with like a crime drama,
right?
Which was really entertaining.
Very
also,
cool.
I don't know if you've seen Mare of Easttown, but that show rules. And this was a great like little like wink and like reference to it. Agatha of Westview, great, love that. More Agnes of Westview, I think.
Yeah, Agnes.
But, yeah, great way to start. Honestly, really entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. The crime show thing, I was like, oh, are we doing this the whole time? We are not, but it was a fun start. And she was great too because she's such a phenomenal actress. Like, there's so many like subliminal messages throughout that whole first episode of like, oh, you're not really, this isn't actually who you are. Like, all these like subliminal messages from all these other characters, but she's like really doing a great job to like play someone who is supposed to be there, but not supposed to be there. Right. And so
she's a rendition of Agatha, but she's not Agatha yet.
Right.
In that moment.
Right. So really interesting. Really enjoyed it. Spooky, which is cool. I love the spookiness of it all so far. And yeah, I'm really excited to see, what's next there. What are some of your like initial thoughts from the first 2 episodes?
Yeah. So like I said, strong start. So fun. Love the Mayor of Easttown reference. I don't know why we necessarily start with the crime drama, or why the crime drama even starts to happen. We'll go back to that because I think there's more to unpack with that choice. But overall, it's like you said, it's creepy. Catherine Hahn is just so fun to watch on screen. It's easy to see why they gave her this show because like she just packs so much enthusiasm and wit and just meanness, and she's just wonderful,
right?
To watch. I'm loving all the inversions to the Wizard of Oz. That's been really neat. And so many of them, right? Like right from the beginning, the first crime is a woman who's fallen from the sky and presumably got hit by something large and doesn't have shoes on. Right away, it's like, okay, this sounds exactly like the witch in The Wizard of Oz, who, the house falls on her when Dorothy arrives in Oz. Which, by the way, isn't that crazy? Like, Dorothy arrived and murdered someone immediately in The Wizard of Oz. Like, I've never really thought about that before.
Yeah, me neither. That's great.
I mean, I suppose she didn't do it necessarily. Like, she was just kind of like witness to it. She was in the house.
Right.
That, like, is that like vehicular homicide?
I don't know.
Is it homeowner homicide? I don't know.
Homeowner homicide. Speaking of dead witches, I refuse to believe that Wanda Maximoff is dead. First of all.
Ooh. Oh yeah, that is
not okay.
Great point.
That is not okay. They dangled it at us and they said, no, the Scarlet Witch is dead, or whatever they said. It's like, no. There's no way that's how. There's just no way. I don't believe it.
I don't know. I think the more I think about it, I think she definitely is, but she's coming back. Like, there's no way she's not coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
She's too great. But so Wizard of Oz starts with the death of a witch, right? And that's pretty much what we get. That's what we're told. Right before Dorothy, in the Wizard of Oz, goes on the Yellow Brick Road, right? To meet the wizard, which this is starting the same exact way. It's the death of a witch, and with the death of the Scarlet Witch, that presumably like makes the spell that Agatha was under weaker, and she's able to like get out of it with help from Joe Locke's character, just listed mysteriously as teen. I think at one point she referenced him as Toto, by the way. Another Wizard of Oz reference. They're all over the place. I love that. Yeah, I'm deeply intrigued. There's a hell of a mystery going on, especially with Teen, right? I love Aubrey Plaza's character. So the return of Mrs. Hart.
Right.
Marvel is doing great with some of these like non-traditional like comic book characters that are TV only that instantly become fan favorites.
Yeah. And
Madison comes to mind from She-Hulk.
Wongers!
So great.
2 N's, 1 Y, but it's not where you think.
Mrs. Hart, also like an instant love. She's just happy to be invited to a party, just hanging out with some gals.
Yeah. And it's cool to see some of course like Mrs. Hart, but some of the other Westview characters, if you will, just callbacks, I guess, or whatever. They're just being in put into the story and coming back on screen. Basically, it's really cool. Yeah, it's fun.
Thank you for saying that. There was a cool callback. I wonder if you caught it. when the witches, like the dark witches, like show up for
Dude,
Agatha,
those things are creepy as hell, man.
they were creepy
Salem
as
7?
hell.
The Salem 7?
The Salem 7,
Oh
that's
my
right.
god.
Thank you for remembering that. The Salem 7 super creepy. When the teen, I'm just gonna call him Toto. When Toto steps outside to see like the 7 show up, but it's just the one witch, right? And then like they separate into 7.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Do you recognize that shot?
Yeah, that's from I don't remember where.
So I recognize that shot. It might be a reference to something else, but I recognize that shot from WandaVision. It's the same shot when Wanda steps outside in either the first episode or the second episode, and she sees like a diver come up from the road. Do you remember? Yeah, it's like it's the same exact shot where like the diver comes up and she's like so confused to like see like something so like foreign and strange there. And they reference that completely again with this witch. That was a neat little callback to that.
Interesting.
The teen obviously is very mysterious, and we're not supposed to know really what's going on with him there yet. I'm not really too sure who he might be. I don't know who he is, but I think I have a guess of who he's related to.
Two things I've seen online are he might actually be Agatha's son, because they kind of give us a glimpse at she had a son at some point. Nicholas Sparks, I think is his name. No, that's not right.
Nicholas Sparks.
That's the fucking author of a bunch of notebooks.
Amazing.
It was Nicholas, right?
Nicholas Scratch.
Scratch. Thank you.
That's right.
Jesus. I mean, I wasn't actually that far off. Tragically, I said an actual human being's name. There's some speculation that that's her son or Mephisto.
Yeah, Mephisto. That's the popular idea that he's probably Mephisto. I don't think he's Mephisto. I think he's probably related to Mephisto in some way. And the number one reason why I think this is the name that we saw, Nicholas Scratch. So, fun old detail here. A classic name for the devil, like way back in the day, Old Scratch.
Really?
So really interesting that they named that child Nicholas Scratch, right? So I'm wondering if he is Mephisto or like he's just related to Mephisto. Like there's something he's related. It's Mephisto. It's like somehow it's Mephisto. By the way, the only reason why I know that is I don't know if you've ever seen Over the Garden Wall before, but the villain of that show, the Beast, his name was supposed to be Old Scratch. And that's when I found out the devil.
Candy camouflage.
Anything
Aubrey
else?
Plaza.
Yeah.
Which is great. I want to see more Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah,
I'm not too sure where we're going
I
with this
thought-
series just yet.
I was surprised she's not one of the ones at the end who goes with the
With the Coven?
the coven. Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Which, by the way, we haven't talked about how the Coven was basically Ocean's 11, where I'm assembling a coven. I love that.
Yeah,
That's great.
That was a really cool. That was a really cool like montage of scenes, if you will.
Yeah.
And then the ballad at the end there was fantastic. That was
Cool,
my
thank you.
favorite scene of the whole first 2 episodes was them all singing the ballad together, and like while the Salem 7 are like trying to get to the house, and then of course out of nowhere the portal to the doorway to the road opens up. So cool.
Yeah, no, that really was haunting melody.
Yeah.
Very, very, very cool.
And the set there when they walk down to the road was fantastic too. Like classic spooky Disney like set. That was really cool. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, actually, that's a great call. It does kind of harken back to some like old Disney movies. Yeah.
Really
And again, like another like inversion of like the Wizard of Oz, right?
Yeah.
Like this like shining and bright town, and instead it's this dark, haunted forest, right? Really, really fun. Thanks for bringing up the song there. I forgot to bring this up. I rewatched the first episode, and the song actually comes up a few times. It's the intro song to the first episode, and it's also a song that Agnes Detective Agnes, is singing while she's in the car. So like she's thinking about it all the time, like even when she's like not aware that she's a witch, right? It's just the road is in her head. It's
Interesting.
constantly at her. All signs point toward the road.
Nice.
What do you think about the omens that she's getting? She sees a crow, or maybe let's call it a raven, a rat, and a wolf.
Yeah, the rat. I'm specifically remembering the rat the most. I think that was maybe the most, at least to me.
You don't remember the wolf just standing there in the middle of suburbia?
No, dude, I don't. There's been too much TV. I can't remember everything. No, the rat was the most. The rat was the most, I guess, obvious to me. For whatever reason, I have no idea though. Like, I don't know where the omens are supposed to lead. Like, I don't. I'm not sure. I have no theories on like why, other than like maybe those were omens for the Salem 7, like are coming for her prior to them actually like reaching her, you know? I don't know. Do you have any theories?
I'm kind of stumped on this one. It could be just, you know, a sign that the 7 are coming, but she knows that the 7 are coming like at a specific time, right? Because Rio, Aubrey Plaza's character, she tells her they're coming,
Right.
And we know exactly when they're coming. So I don't know if the signs are for that, or if. All right, here's the only theory I've got. Maybe they are Rio, like it is Aubrey Plaza's character, like, and for whatever reason she hates her so much, like these signs keep like pointing her into the direction of Rio. Like the road, maybe the road is leading her to Rio, right? Maybe the wise wizard at the end is, you know, the inversion of like Rio's character, right? It's all leading to her. I don't know. Considering Rio's not in the episode when those signs are popping up, I want to say that maybe they are associated with her, right? To some degree. Or they are her. I don't know. That's my best guess.
Interesting. I like that. It's a nice theory. Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where we're at with this. First 2 episodes were really fun. I'm really looking forward to watching more for Agatha all along.
Same. Absolutely. Looking forward to it. And we'll see where the road leads.
Yes, we will. But our road for right now, the Penguin. That's what we're on. That's the next stop.
Oh, the Penguin.
Wow. What a pilot.
What a way to open too. Picking up right where we left off from the Batman. Just like straight up, right from where we left off. Like, magnificently done. Magnificently done.
Yes.
Like enthralled. Yes. I could not. Do you know, like when sometimes you put on a TV show, even if it's a new one, like you might occasionally like look at your phone or like, you know, I'm gonna pause it real quick, get up, get a drink or like whatever. You know, you can get distracted pretty quickly.
Yeah.
This is one of those. This was like locked in hour. I cannot believe what I'm watching. Colin Farrell, just unreal performance. You know, like just unreal performance. And then Christine Milioti also just like phenomenal.
I truly had no expectations for this. And I'm not really sure why. I enjoyed the Batman movie a lot. Matt Reeves' Batman movie was great. I have very little to complain about it. But I don't know. I guess the character, the Penguin himself, has never really been a character that's ever attracted me. I've never really been interested as far as Batman villains go. He's always been kind of like lower for my interest. So like when they announced that they were doing this, I was like, why? But I mean, money, I guess. But
I will say that the Batman TV series that was actually on like I think like NBC or something.
Oh no, you're talking about Gotham.
Yeah, thank you. Gotham, was that on Fox?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, Gotham on Fox. I never watched the whole thing, but I remember watching the first couple seasons. And like I enjoyed it, and the character, like Penguin's in that series. He's not known as the Penguin. Of course, he's known in that series as Oswald Cobblepot, which is his actual name. and they refer to him like as Oz or Cobblepot or whatever a couple times in this pilot. But the reason I was interested in this show was because that show has a lot of character development for Oswald Cobblepot, and I really liked that character in that Gotham show. And so, and the actor, I forget the name, but who played him, like, did a really good job, in my opinion. And so, from that show, I got more interested when I realized that they were going to do this version of the Penguin from the Batman and it was going to be Colin Farrell. I was like, this might be really good because he has a really interesting, like, the character's really interesting from all these dynamics that kind of go into his mind. So, and we've never really got that in like a movie, right? Like any of the Batman films, like Penguin has been a villain, but we've never had necessarily time to explore why. So it's this is really interesting that we're getting like a mini series about specifically the Penguin.
Hang on, actually, I'm drawing a blank here. With the exception of the Batman, has the Penguin ever been portrayed?
Yeah.
By an actor on screen, with the exception of, you know, the Batman and Gotham?
Yeah. Batman and... Was it Batman? Not Batman and Robin.
Oh, you're right. Danny DeVito was the Penguin.
Yeah.
I am not a human being! I am an animal!
How could I forget the legendary Danny DeVito? I don't know.
Well, because, you know, even though that was legendary, there's an argument to be made that it was forgetful.
Yeah. Legendary and infamous. Yeah, it was a time.
But yeah,
that was the time to be a Batman fan.
So there's that, right? But that's maybe also the reason you weren't as excited.
Probably. It's a good call.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
but
chilled on it.
But yeah, so yeah, this was like, it's awesome so far. It's really freaking cool. I have so many notes too, like just things I liked. But anyway. You go. What's next? What's next on your list of what to discuss?
I want to just applaud everyone who worked on this show because I think they had to do two things that were really hard. The first thing that they have to accomplish is they have to somehow recapture the Gotham that we saw in Matt Reeves's The Batman, right? Like the tone and the grittiness of like that world that they created, and that I think that's the best Gotham has ever looked is in that movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is it kind of an oxymoron. It's the best it's ever looked because of how horrible it looks, right? And I think they, like you said, they got us there pretty instantly. You know, right off the heels of the disaster, and the way that Gotham is shot, it looks horrible, and it looks, you know, like where crime is born and raised, right? It takes you there very fast. And the second thing they have to accomplish, at least for a story like this, is to make the Penguin a sympathetic character. You gotta root for him, right? And like, again, I've never cared for this character. For as long as we've, you know, known Batman, everyone knows who the Penguin is probably. He's just one of those rogues that sticks out in the Batman lore, right? But I doubt there are very many Penguin fans out there. And if you are, please tell us, because I'd love to know why before this series, if you were a Penguin fan. I'm not hating. I really would love to know why you were. Like, what was it about the character you loved? And they got there, right? They make him sympathetic. They make him intriguing. And like you said, you're just kind of riveted by like where this guy's story is going, like right from the get-go. I'm so hyped on this show right now. But you have notes. Oh. What's on the docket there, sir?
So like things so like initial thoughts right from the beginning, right? Like it was really, really cool where it picks up from. The Falcone kid's an idiot, you know. Al, I think is his
Alberto. Yeah.
Alberto. Like pretty quickly you're just like, okay, you're all right, this kid's super dumb. And the scene at the early part where Penguin and him are having drinks, right? And the cool thing about this scene is right before they're having drinks, Penguin is clearly like he's at Falcone's like layer, like who he's in his club, but he's like looking specifically through some of Falcone's stuff, and the kid walks in, like Al walks in and confronts Penguin, and the Penguin's like really quick on his feet. And it was a cool scene to kind of get into the mindset of like, okay, the Penguin is smart and he's really quick with his words when he's been caught, right? He's very sly that way. And we see that later too in the scene when he's having lunch with Sophia. So really quick on his feet, and then he gets himself into this situation where now he's having drinks with Al and they're shooting the shit and having a good time. And then Al starts laughing at him. You just there's just something inside of you. You're just waiting. You know, you're just like, what? This kid is so dumb. Like, there's no way he lives through all of this. And of course, in that moment, Penguin just like takes over and shoots him, you know, cold blood. But the cool part there is he loses his cool though, right? And immediately after he shoots him, he's excited that he did it. And then he's just like, oh, I have such a mess I have to clean up now. Why did I do that?
Actually, I wanted to ask you about that. So like you said, he shoots him and then he laughs, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think he laughs?
I think he laughs because he got the last laugh. You know, Al is laughing at him for wanting to be, you know, I forget the words that Al was using, but essentially
revered.
You know,
I want to be revered.
Yeah, and Al's just like making fun of him, and Penguin hated it, and so he took matters into his own hands, got the last laugh, and then immediately remembers that now he has to clean up this big mess because it's not good for him for people to know that who he just killed. That scene is what sets up the whole journey we go on over the next, 40, 50 minutes there. And Colin Farrell just crushes this acting job. It's really good.
I would say it's pretty. He does, for the record. I don't want to take anything away from Colin Farrell. But like across the board, like everyone is just like bringing their A game.
Yeah, everyone's really excellent, including the kid Renzi Feliz, who plays Victor.
Yes.
So good.
But by the way, so on Victor's story, so I was watching The Penguin with someone, and they fell asleep, not because they weren't into it. It's just been a late night, and they just fell asleep, right? And like when they came back, they were super into it, but like they wanted like a catch up on like the Victor character, and I explained, it was like, let me tell you the day that Victor's been having. Victor thought he was stealing rims from a car, then a bald man threatened to shoot him, spared his life, and then he had to move a dead body. Then the old man threatened to shoot him again, and then he basically had to dedicate his life to him. Then he went to the richest side of town and basically acted as chauffeur all around Gotham, went to this crazy man's mother's house, saw him break down in front of his mom, and then witnessed his mom being a worse, like, sociopath than him. Mm-hmm. And then he got a job. What a day.
Yeah, Victor's day is next level insane. Also,
unbelievable, honestly.
It is unbelievable. And a couple of the notes I wrote down were mistakes that Penguin made in this episode that will probably come back to bite him in the ass at some point. And one of those mistakes is keeping Victor alive, even though so far it was the right choice based on how the episode ends. But keeping him alive might end up being a bad choice. And two, keeping the ring from Salvatore, the ring that he takes off the ring from Al Falcone's finger, and then he gives it to Salvatore Maroni in prison as like a token or whatever. That also might come back to bite him in the ass. Although maybe not as much because it's not on his person anymore. But yeah, I interesting.
I think you're right about Victor. I think there's something about that relationship that is so doomed.
Yeah,
And yeah, I'm not sure I know exactly where that's going yet, but as far as the ring goes, I mean, it was originally his ring, right? It's Salvatore's. So Sal just has his ring back, right?
Right.
And Falcone, we were told that he wore it as like a sign of mocking the Maroni family. And geniusly, he gives Sal the ring, and he does it like in what appears to be just like, oh yeah, like I'm just, it's your ring, like, and he was mocking you for it, right? But really, he's done it so he could create an alibi, right?
Right.
like
It ends
a
up being
story.
smart. Yeah.
Yeah, it ends up being like a genius move by removing the finger of Al, and then the ring pops up later with the Maronis. Like it just seems like it was them.
Right.
Yeah, just great writing, great move.
That was
I loved
great.
it. My jaw dropped honestly when Victor shows up with the car.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what. Yeah, we didn't know what the task was that he gave Victor, and then as he's being he's about to be tortured by Sophia and the thugs, his alibi essentially crashes into their house.
Yeah,
which amazing timing. But I will say the other thing that stands out is like really quick. What a shameful thing to do to a Maserati. Can we just acknowledge the purple and gold? Awful.
Not that I'm complaining.
Only the Penguin, I guess. And
that ends up being important though, right? The fact that it's a not so subtle car, like every detail in this show matters.
Exactly. Every detail matters, which is like fascinating. One thing I wanted to ask you is, do you know what the story is between the Penguin and Sophia though? I didn't.
No.
Okay.
No, this is a character I am not familiar. I'm actually not very familiar with a lot of like the Falcones, like Carmine Falcone. Like obviously, like I feel like anyone who's loosely familiar with like Batman mobster stories knows him, right?
For sure.
But yeah, the rest of the Falcone family, I really don't know a whole lot about.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what's going on there.
Got it. Okay. Because that's an interesting development. Of course, she was in Arkham, and now she's out of Arkham, so she's just obviously insane as well. So it's a very interesting development.
It appears to be like a at least in comics, like some sort of Batman villain with like the cool moniker, the Hangman.
Mm-hmm.
Super creepy.
Yeah.
Everything about her was so creepy.
Yeah.
I loved her.
Yeah.
I loved her character.
Yeah. Fantastic. And
especially the way that they tried to torture Oz too with the metal. What do you even call that? Like, it's not a chain. It's not rope.
It's like wire.
What is
like
that?
A wire?
Yeah. I'm supposed to be good with words. That's my job. Literally to be good with words.
Can't think of the word wire.
Wire.
It's okay. It's been a long weekend. It's been a long weekend. The other thing that was cool was the reveal when they go out to lunch, right? And the Penguin realizes, oh, I fucked up because Al has been working with his sister on this deal. But you get another glimpse at how quick he is on his feet when he's been caught, at least in the mental game, right? Yeah, and he really quickly gets himself out of it, at least out of it enough to buy him some more time. And that time helps him come up with a plan that Victor ends up then crashing the car in with Al's body to get him essentially off the hook, at least for now. So really, really just such great detail on, the Penguin's not just a schmuck or some kind of like lackey, right? He can be the brains of an operation based on how quick he is on his feet with thinking there. So that was really cool to see that. And yeah, now it's going to be like, we don't know what the drug is either, right? The big plan to revolutionize the drug business in Gotham. But that's kind of a big plot point, I think, moving forward, is finding out what that's all about.
I wanted to make note of one other thing regarding Victor's character that I thought was a really neat reference to Batman comics. So Penguin has pretty much picked up what I think is fair to say a protege, right? Like it's not just like a hired hand that he has. Like he's told Victor, he's like, I think like I can make something out of you, right? You need me. And toward the end of this, we very much see that Victor can live up to what he has promised, right? The way we're introduced to Victor is he's in an alley, right? And he's with a bunch of other kids who are stealing the rims off of Penguin's car. That is exactly how Batman gets his second Robin. Is Jason Todd is stealing he's attempting to steal the rims off of the Batmobile. and he busts him. He gets him, finds out his story, adopts another orphan, and turns him into Robin. It's the same story. So it's interesting that we're getting like a dark, corrupted version of it, right?
That's
it's like
really
bringing
cool.
him into the underworld.
That's a great detail. I love that.
Yeah. Speaking of Batman, do you think we're gonna see him?
I don't think so. And if we do, it's like a silhouette situation. You know, it's not like a full-on scene or anything. But I hope we don't, because you know, it's a mini series, and I think it's cool to tell this kind of story without having Batman involved. Now, there might be a point in the story where it feels like whatever's going on is too important for Batman not to be involved, because it is Gotham. So that's going to be the interesting part, I think, moving ahead, right? Is this going to be, it feels like it's going to be more of like a mob turf war show, right? In which case, Batman maybe isn't necessarily as involved if it's not like a huge issue or like a huge problem that has implications for like the innocent people of Gotham necessarily, like immediately. Of course, you know, whoever rules the Gotham underworld is a problem for the civilians and innocent people, but there's going to be
They would certainly think so.
you know what I mean? But it's not like a bomb going off or something, right? Which is, you know, essentially the problem from the Batman. So that'll be interesting to see what kind of stakes we actually have and what the main plot point's going to be for the miniseries, because it can't be too like over the top, or else then we're going to be like, well, why didn't Batman show up? So it's an interesting question. I don't know. I kind of hope that it doesn't, because I'd like to see the story told without having to rely on the Cape Crusader showing up. So
I'm right there with you. I don't think it needs Batman right now.
Yeah.
I am so heavily involved with what's going on with Oz. I don't need him. I don't think we can get away from not having him. I think he shows up eventually. But like like you said, in a very loose way, a small way, like maybe like in the finale, like, you know, he plays some sort of like role. And maybe, you know, maybe he'll be used as a tool, right? You know, at some point, maybe the Penguin can play Batman into like doing his dirty work and, you know, getting rid of his rivals, right? I think it'll happen. But I hope, like you said, it is a way that does not shift the story toward Batman and just like minimizes the Cape Crusader as much as possible.
for sure.
But yeah, I'm big hyped, man.
Same. Big
I
same.
got a couple scenes that stand out in my head. The one that I think, I mean, so many scenes just did not go the way I thought that they were going to go. But it's pretty much this whole episode is just Joe trying to catch up with the plot. Like, holy God, holy God, holy God. The scene with his mom.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Mrs. Cowapot.
Like,
That scene, wow, that did not go anywhere where I thought it was going to go.
she's crazy.
And she is insane and such a supportive crime mobster mother.
Yeah. When he told her what he did, I actually wrote it down too. I was like, oh my God, he told us. He just straight up tells his mom. He's not keeping the circle very small. You know? I mean, it's too many people that know what he's done now.
I do love that, like, she's just not gonna let it go, right?
Yeah.
She pries it out of him, and like he's trying to protect her, right? Which is why he doesn't want to tell her. But he's got enough trust in his mom to tell her, because like this isn't just an insane character, like this is one of his pillars of strength, right? And it's basically what gets him to be the Penguin at this moment, right?
I am an animal!
No, that was really cool in a disturbing way. I loved that scene, and I love that Victor's just standing there and like witnessing this. He's like, what in the hell is this family?
This guy.
What a day.
What a day.
I love the end, by the way, where they're drinking Slurpees, right? And they have like a short conversation about like hey, why didn't you like decapitate him? Like that's what you were supposed to do. And like Victor gets into like all like the impracticalness of trying to do something like that by yourself.
I didn't know if I should start in the front, but then if you start in the front, you get to the back, and then if you get to the
yeah, you're gonna run into the trachea, and like what do you do? Like then there's a spine, like He's just like a great like substitute for like the everyman. It's like, yeah, that sounds like a problem I would have if I had to do something that horrible.
Penguin's just like, all right, enough.
Just stop. God, it's so gross. Well, Nick, let me ask you. Okay. Nick, let me ask you. So we've gotten through Agatha all along. Gotten through the Penguin. This was a Marvel and DC weekend. I think this is the first time in at least this era of superhero storytelling that we've had two competing Marvel and DC shows premiering alongside each other. So it's kind of hard not to ask the question of like the verses, right?
Yeah.
For pilot episodes, who do you think walks away here, DC or Marvel?
Honestly, DC for me wins this one, which that's...
Nick, I need you to remind the people about what a big deal that is for you to say that.
DC has been a smoking hot ball of fire, a dumpster fire, to be exact, for the better part of 10 years. Basically, everything they've come out with has sucked.
Nick's just coming out swinging. He's ready to fight you in the comments. He's ready.
Maybe like Wonder Woman, that was excellent. The second one was so bad, though, that it almost takes away from how good the first one was. So, anyway, the fact that I'm picking something DC over the MCU right now is insane. Because if you would have told me that 5 years ago, I would have punched myself in the face. But this was excellent, and it is well deserved. Agatha was awesome, but there's something about the dark and grittiness of the DC universe and this specific Batman universe that we're now in that is really, really cool. And it's really fun to explore that way. So that's my choice.
I'm right there with you. DC wins the pilot round, right? Just a captivating,
so good.
First scene. Honestly, the scene between him and Alberto, I was glued. Yeah, I mean, ultimately we'll see where both shows are going. Very promising starts for both. I'm still very excited to see what Agatha All Along is going to do. But yeah, right now, the Penguin, I wish there was a second episode out right now. But, we're here for the waiting game.
We are here for the waiting game.
Yeah. And, we will come back to this conversation to talk about both endings when we do eventually cross those finish lines. But in the meantime, we will be talking about our thoughts every week about these episodes as they are coming out, as well as the Rings of Power and other shows and movies that are coming out. Nick, where can the people keep up with the conversation?
Awesome. Yeah, you can find us on Threads. We're there just talking about everything going on. Of course, just like Joe mentioned, please let us know what you think there. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube, of course, and let us know what you think in the comments about these shows. Love to talk to you about that. And also on Instagram. And yeah, that's where you can find us. And until next time,
may the review be with you.
Peace.